Christ is in our midst. Today, the first Sunday after the Ascension, which was Thursday, is always reserved to commemorate the Holy Fathers of the First Ecumenical Council. And just as an aside, next week is Pentecost. We will not kneel during liturgy, but then we will kneel after liturgy in the kneeling service, and from that point forward begin kneeling again. So we commemorate these 318 fathers of the First Ecumenical Council, which was 320, 321. It was a couple years. And their great accomplishment, which was the writing of the Creed. So we say it every single week. I believe in one God, Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and so forth. And this writing, this dogmatic writing, became the basis of all Christianity. Realize at the time this was written, there were not multiple churches. There was one church. As is said, one holy, Catholic, and apostolic church. And that was this church. And the primary role of these fathers was to put into writing a dogmatic statement that gave to us what Christ revealed in his incarnation. And there is no Christian church today that denies anything that is in the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed. It is the basis, it is the foundation of all faith. And these fathers, who were they? They were bishops from all over, 318 bishops that were ordained by bishops before them, and by bishops before them, and bishops before them, going back to James, the first bishop of Jerusalem, and to Christ. This unbroken lineage. And the role of these bishops, their primary role is twofold. One is to preserve the unity of the faith unchanged from generation to generation. It is to lose nothing in the faith and to not, in essence, change it to try and make it better. How do you make Jesus Christ better? If we think we can, that's an ego issue. It's not a church issue. And from generation to generation to generation, as a matter of fact, at the end of almost every service, you hear the priests say, or the bishops say, through the prayers of our holy fathers, Lord Jesus Christ our God, have mercy on us and save us. Does anybody know who the priest is referring to at that point, or where the origin of that came from, what it dates back to? I bet you don't. It dates back to not the fathers of the early church, but to the communities filled with fathers, at which point the priest would stand up here, and there were priests and bishops throughout the community on the throne, in chairs, everywhere, in monasteries, in local communities, and he would say, through the prayers of your holy fathers, meaning these folks, right here, not dating back 1,000 years, 2,000 years, but these fathers, because these fathers praying now in the church with all of us is the continuation of every generation before. Every generation before. There is no church outside of the Orthodox Church that can look back at an unbroken lineage, unchanged, no additions, no subtractions, back to the time of Christ. That's why I laugh. I got to tell you, sometimes I don't always say exactly what I believe, meaning I'm nicer than I should be. And what I mean by that is, I have people come up to me all the time and say, well, Father, well, first of all, they might say, well, John, I can't call you Father. It says, call no man Father in the Bible. At which point I chuckle at their lack of understanding. And they say, do you believe in the Bible? And I say, well, of course. The Bible is a book written about the early church, which was really our church. What I really want to say is, man, you're asking me if the book you believe in, the one that we gave you, the one that we wrote, the one that we compiled, the one that belongs to us, if we believe in that book. It's our book. This is where I don't say what I believe, because I want to say is revlacha. which is not necessarily the nicest thing to say, but it blows my mind at how 1,000 unbroken years of Christianity in one church gets broken. And then 500 years splinters into hundreds of different churches. And then somebody finds our book, by the way, about our church in Corinth, which is an Orthodox church, our church in Galatia, which is an Orthodox church, our church in Jerusalem, which is an Orthodox church, even the church in Rome is an Orthodox church. And then they find our book and they say, well, this is a really good book. Hey, you Orthodox, let me tell you what it means. And I go, oh, I just want to walk away sometimes, because this unbroken history is what we are founded on. And my role in speaking to you is not to find some sort of charisma or excitement. My role to you is not to sell the gospel of Jesus Christ. It doesn't need to be sold. He takes a man born blind, gives him sight, brings 3 people back from the dead. He rises from the dead, and then he ascends into heaven. How can I possibly sell that? My job is not to tell it, because I believe it. It is to proclaim it and to not allow it to be changed. It's not for you to hear what I think the faith is. It's for me to give you what the fathers before me and before them handed down from the time of Jesus Christ unchanged, whether we like it or not. You see, that's the beautiful thing about truth. If the truth is given to you, it doesn't matter if you don't like it. The truth is the truth. St. John Chrysostom says, one man and the truth constitutes the majority. It reminds me of an old joke. This guy goes to his accountant. He's trying to find a new accountant. So he brings an accountant into his office, and he says to him, what's 2 plus 2? Accountant says 4. He says, okay, you're dismissed. He brings in another guy. He says, what's 2 plus 2? Accountant says 4. He goes, okay, you're dismissed. He brings in the third guy, and he says, what's 2 plus 2? The guy gets up, he walks over to the windows, pulls the shades, closes the door, sits back in the chair, and goes, what do you want it to be? That's not how faith works. That is not how faith works. The truth is the truth is the truth is the truth. And today, when we hold up these fathers, it's not because we're looking back 1,700 years saying, these were really great guys. By the way, St. Spiridon, St. Nicholas, so many wonderful saints there. It's not because we're saying, let's hold up these terrific folks. It's because of what they did. They put together the doctrine of the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed that we still use today, and every church, sporadically, when they feel like it, uses. When we get together in ecumenical dialogues, we use. When we get together, even together with the Western Church, it's utilized. It is the foundation of the church. Now, why am I being so emphatic? Because we live in a society that wants you and I to accept what the society says truth is. We're trying to redefine truth for our kids in school. We're trying to redefine truth in order to get whichever politician we want elected. We're trying to redefine truth. Let me ask you something. Are you proud to be whatever you are? Are you proud to be Greek? Are you proud to be German? Are you proud to be English or Irish, whatever you? Well, apparently you're not allowed to be proud today, because pride is reserved for one group of people. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm saying that facetiously, but the world is trying to tell us what we should believe. If the whole world believes something and you don't, remember what St. John Chrysostom says. One man and the truth constitutes the majority. It's that simple. And we have to be able to listen and be willing to accept the truth in our minds, even if we don't accept it in our hearts, so that we can allow it to work from our mind to our heart. If we all accepted everything perfectly in our heart, we would be Jesus Christ, and none of us is Jesus Christ. But we can work on being closer to perfect as our life goes on. Life is a struggle every single day. I don't know how people who didn't have faith made it through this last year. What is the hope of the hopeless? I mean, Christ is the hope of the hopeless, right? If you don't have Christ, what do you have? So today, as we honor these fathers of the First Ecumenical Council, let us remember what they gave us. They gave us what we declare every single week. They gave us what a new person who stands here and is chrismated declares. They gave us what godparents declare back there when they bring a child into the church for baptism. They gave us the basis of the faith, which is what you must believe in order to be of the faith. At least that. I pray that this message of the early church is one that falls on our hearts and continues to grow as seeds upon fertile soil. May the Holy Trinity bless and protect you.